Stephen, one other thing I've been wanting to have you articulate for me is like what do you mean when you say dual use, and how do I know if something is dual use, especially if it's being positioned first for a commercial setting? Like how do you understand what I'm asking? Like, how do I think about if this has the potential to also be used in a government world?
I think that is, and I don't think that this is unfair to say. I think that if you're bringing something from the commercial space into the government, then you do need a specialist investor, right? If that is your intent, that you think that there's this great synergy and, a fund manager like me has sold you on that idea, which I believe. But if you think that that is the synergy, the crossover point, then you do need a specialist investor that does know what the government is buying in different agencies, right? Because not a lot of people are going to have that insight. You do need somebody with direct experience in that. Now, if it's something that is built for the government that you can clearly see there's a commercial use case for, it's a little bit different, right? If there's a company that is making, drones, right? There's 1,000 of them now, but that being said, hey, we have the best drones. It's not a huge leap to say maybe a new company can use that as a better delivery service for, small parcels, right? Or for search and rescue, right? Across civic services. These are not huge leaps to look at something that's already occurring and say, what else can we do with this? But if you don't have the specific knowledge of who the government customers, buyers, and users are and how they use and implement and integrate things, it's going to be difficult to cross the bridge into, does agency X want this human information tool, this marketing data company, right? It's going to be really hard to imagine those use cases.
And that's the point at which I would, if I was in a business like that, wondering if I could explore that route. That's the point in time in which I would likely engage a service business to help me think about, like, where you came from. Can I make this transition? And if so, where might it fit?
Yeah. And part of the value proposition that I add to firms that we earn allocation in is having that insight and access to be able to at least have those conversations. I think if you're a company and you're building, your product line for commercial, then trying to run the government thing at the same time isn't always smart unless there's a natural avenue. And there are ways to do that, generate that avenue, and start, stand up that division within your company or whatever it is, where it's not distractive to the commercial scaling potential of what you're building. Like if we're going to take Snapchat and everybody's going to use it, it's going to become, mega giga decacorn. But maybe an agency wants that for no reason, not, maybe just so we know what people's faces look like. I don't know, like the FBI, maybe, a giant registry of facial information and, expressions or anything like that. Getting to that point isn't something you should do to destroy this, put all your attention on and destroy that commercial scaling. But if you have a new division in your company that just says, hey, just go federal, you're Snapchat federal, you're on your own, go nuts, right? That's what that should probably look like.
So don't stick it into the core infrastructure, make sure it's distinct because it's a distinct universe, basically.
Yeah, selling to the government is a completely different sales motion than selling, commercial. And because of that, you just need a separate shop to do these things.
A quick note before we continue the conversation. Alongside the Diligent Observer podcast and newsletter, I also run an outsourced operations service specifically built to serve angel networks. My team handles things like initial screening, social media, newsletter prep, platform management, and a whole lot more. The kinds of things that either aren't getting done or shouldn't be done by busy community leaders. If that sounds interesting to you, send me a note. Now, back to it. I feel like the answers are perhaps obvious, but articulate for me one or two of the key reasons why it's so different.
So why is selling to the government different than just selling on the commercial side of things? Probably the biggest reason there is that you can't sell directly without, approved competition. And if you are, then there are regulations and laws in place to gate that, right? So it's really difficult. It's really easy on the commercial side to just build something valuable that somebody wants and say, hey, do you value this? Yes. Would you like it? Yes. Is there a price associated with that? Yes. And let me keep talking with you and building a better thing for you. And then I'll build it better for other people. And, it's not easy, but there's a clear path there. With the government, you're like, well, who is my customer, right? How do I talk to them? Am I allowed to, right? These are all questions. And you may have the perfect thing for the perfect government customer. You know who they are, and you're allowed to talk to them, but they don't have any money. Oops. Right. So go back to square one and then go down a different pathway. Hey, I have a customer. They know what they want. I have what they want, and they don't have any money. Can I help them get money? That's also a completely different, sales motion there and set of activities that you have to engage in if you're going to sell to the government. And it's just, it's not a maze.
Sounds awful.
Okay. You said it, not me.
I said it.
You said it, not me. My whole point is that if you know about those things, it can be low friction. But if you don't, then the process of learning that is going to be really fatiguing. And that's exactly why a company that is commercial first should not try to figure that out by themselves. They should bring in, if they intend to sell dual use, they should bring in a dual use investor or some other advisor or something of that nature to help build that capability so that they don't distract themselves from their core mission and product.
So if I'm an angel hearing a deal pitching me that this can go, look at all these use cases. We can go this commercial route and do this, government route, and we've got this specific vision. I should be asking, okay, who is helping you think through that government pathway? And what experience do you have doing that? Like, that is the question, because if the answer is, oh, well, we'll figure it out as we go, that is like a 0 in my brain, and I'm just evaluating the commercial path.
Yeah, that's a really great way to say it. So if you're an angel investor assessing a firm or an investor, like a fund, and they're delivering this dual use value proposition of, hey, we have market A that's huge and market B that's not as huge, but it's also huge. And them together, it's super huge. And that's why this is very attractive. Interrogating that aggressively in the way that you described, I think, is really important. And saying not only like, well, how do you know that they want that, but who do you know that knows that, and who is going to help you with that? And do they have, oddly enough, a track record of doing that, right? So, for instance, I've sold over $400 million of services to the federal government. If somebody has not sold those services, but they've bought them or told somebody else to buy them, like maybe a very senior official, they don't quite know every piece of this equation, which is fair. I mean, a manager isn't going to know everything that happens every single place, and they don't have direct experience with it. That's only natural. So you do need somebody who has a track record of sales to understand, and even better is if it's specifically with that agency, right? So those people exist. A lot of them are in DC, and that's why we're playing in that space where we are.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Diligent Observer. I'm your host, Andrew, and if you're an angel investor looking for essential angel intel in 5 minutes every week, I think you'd enjoy my newsletter. I send my best stuff, interesting deals, and more straight to your inbox so you never miss a thing. Subscribe today at thediligentobserver.com.